Well, this was becoming quite orange, so I've toned it down a little bit. Well, I think I mentioned that actually. I went to yellow ochre and alizarin crimson. But I wanted to bring more intensity out of the background. So I've gone cad orange light and some white, cad orange pale, touches of alizarin crimson here and there, just to make that pop a little more. The foliage here, the sunlit foliage, or the lit foliage more or less, is, I think, more or less in place. Now I'm going to need to work on the foliage that's on the underside of the canopy of each of these trees. And I'm also, and this is really finicky stuff, but I'm needing to tidy up these trunks, you know? Some areas were a little bit fat looking, you know, they bulged out in all the wrong places. I'm familiar with that at my age. And just needed to get things a little more coordinated so that I know where I'm at. It's easy to lose, okay, which goes in front of what is under what, you know? What's on top of what when you get into shapes like this. So these three trees are good, the trunks. This one needs a little bit of work yet. You see what I mean? Like this bulge here, I prefer that the background carves into it a little bit rather than it just sort of bulbing out. And just cleaning up a few lines here and there. And that's all in preparation for painting the actual trunks, which I will get to next. So I'm just finishing up, I shouldn't say that really. I'm just filling in, or painting in, some of the shadow areas of this tree. And I was kind of hesitant to film it because I thought, well, it's probably pretty boring. And, you know, I think it is, but it's also challenging. I practically fall asleep while I'm doing this. Well, I would if it weren't for the fact that it's important that it's done right. And right now I'm using a combination of ultramarine, I'm using raw umber and alizarin crimson and burnt sienna and a bit of yellow ochre. Okay, I'm going to steal a bit of that because that's too light. So I'll put a bit of that on this side because I'm just carving in a small branch there. Yeah, it seems like it's just playing, but my goodness, you know, I know I've got you zoomed in right now. And it's part of the reason that I haven't part of the reason that I haven't really put out much in the way of video in the last day or two is because this stuff is boring. It's not great entertainment at all. Don't forget that on a lot of, there are a lot of artists out there who produce a lot of videos about painting, and usually during the video you will see a painting go from start to finish, or at least close to that, and I can do that on a small painting as usually is done. But this is a 3 foot by 4 foot painting. It's a bit more of a challenge. And yeah, I could get into a lot of editing, and I could I could speed it up and I could show you different things that I'm doing while I'm doing it, but you know, as I've said before, the whole purpose of this channel really is just to take you along. And yeah, if you have questions, maybe I have answers, maybe I don't. But I'm not going to spend my life editing videos. To me, that's a waste of time, unless you're a, you know, a real YouTuber. And I'm not. I'm a faker. But because it's a large painting, you don't just sort of slice it together magically, you know? And what it would mean is, if I were to do that anyway, it takes so many days. This is a 3 foot by 4 foot painting. You don't do that in a few days. Or I don't anyways. It takes me quite a while to get through the whole process. So that's why I can have 20. I think I've even had something like 26 videos on one painting. And that's probably quite a bit, but yeah, that's how I go about things. Whoops, a little too much paint on the brush, or the brush on the knife there. You know, so I end up with a lot of videos on one painting. And I know that most of you are fine with that. I tend to feel guilty sometimes because I would like to provide more, well, I don't know about more content, maybe more progress on each video. But I'm not able to do that because, again, I'm painting a larger painting. Okay, I think for the most part we're okay with this. You know, as I mentioned earlier, I'm just really preparing for the trunks to be painted. There is work to be done up here, but I'm not going to worry about it right now. Alright, so what's left? We're kind of at the stage, ooh, actually I screwed that up. I want this branch to continue up through there, so I'm just going to grab my cheater brush. And make sure that that branch can continue. This is the time I should be using both hands, which I often do. but I'll just be lazy for a moment. Okay. Oh my goodness. Sometimes I am the dumbest person on the planet. I'm in such a rush sometimes to fix something that is not that big a deal, and I end up making a bigger mess. Which is what I did just now. And of course, then rather than just not worrying too much about it, I tend to fixate on these little things that are not a big deal. Okay. All right. So I've been using on the underside of the like at the shadow side of the foliage, same colors as the lit side, but I'm using no white. Unless on the reflected light side, I've added a hint of white here and there with some raw umber and what have you. But anyway, now finally, here, let me just get behind the camera and shake it up, mess with your vision. Okay, so obviously I haven't touched this yet, but once I have everything established here, including the trunks, then I'll jump over here because I already know exactly what I've done here, and then I can just repeat it over here, probably in a different way, obviously, because this is going to catch more light up here in certain areas, and likely spots on the trunks will as well. But you know, in general, the whole focus, the focal area of the painting was very strong here, and now we are gradually moving it to the left. Not that this is now the focal area, it's just that we're spreading it out so that a person can stretch their eyes and look around. Because being a big painting, you kind of need to do that. You have to wander around in the painting visually.